What's up, YouTube? Team Movies here. Since today is the birthday of famed child actor Macaulay Culkin, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite Macaulay Culkin movies. Because God knows when's the next time he's ever going to do another film, so I kind of hope he makes some sort of comeback. Because I always thought Macaulay Culkin was he's a great actor. You know, I mean, he of course started acting at a very young age. He did grown-up roles as well. He was, of course, best friends with Michael Jackson because he was in that black and white music video. He has a pretty cool collection of brothers. Like, there's Rory Culkin, Kieran Culkin. One big family there. And, of course, he had his, problems and all. But I'm really glad to see Macaulay Culkin's really somehow making some sort of comeback. So, with that being said, here's my 10 favorite Macaulay Culkin movies. Alright. Coming in at number 10. Alright, coming in at number 10 is going to be a... Wait. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Anyway, coming in at number 10 is going to be a film called Saved. Now, it stars Jenna Malone as this girl named Mary, who's pretty much a devout girl at a Christian high school. And she's dating this guy named Dean, played by Chad Fuss. But her, perfect world begins to fall apart when Dean ends up revealing that he's gay and all. And so, she ends up receiving a vision from Jesus and tries everything she can to help Dean, including offering her virginity and all that. But fortunately, Dean ends up getting sent to a treatment center so that, for them to cure him and all. And Mary also ends up discovering that, she's pregnant. But anyway, Macaulay Culkin in this, plays one of the misfits here named Roland. And Susan Sarandon's daughter is also one of the misfits. And of course, the actress name is Eva Maria. Or Amarie? Yeah. And I thought Macaulay Culkin stole lots of scenes here. I mean, Saved I think it's kind of an underrated little gem. I thought it was a really nice little film. I guess you could say it's part Christian movie if you really want to look at it that way. You also had Patrick Fugit from Almost Famous fame was in this. Martin Donovan, who's of course the pastor here. It was directed by Brian Dennehy, not Brian Dennehy, Dennehy. Yeah, it's a really decent little film. It's a little comedic. There's some touching moments in this. Good performances by John Malone. Mandy Moore was also in this movie too, so there's that also. A really nice film. I mean, if you guys haven't seen Sage, go check that one out. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Alright, coming in at number 9 is going to be a film called Getting Even with Dad. Now, the film is about this con man named Ray Gleason, played by Ted Danson, who is going after one last heist. And so his estranged son, named Timmy, played by Macaulay Culkin, unexpectedly shows up in Nora. And so Ray ends up being too busy with his robbery to spend time with his son. So Timmy ends up deciding to blackmail Ray into acting like a father, and he ends up hiding these coins he steals and promises to give them back only after Ray ends up taking him to amusement park and baseball games and all. And so Ted Danson's character is not that likable, and this movie is pretty dumb at times, but I quite enjoyed it. It's kind of a 90s gem. I like the father-son relationship between Ted Danson and Macaulay Culkin. You also had the late Glenn Headley was in this. Really funny film about fatherhood, and he's not that much of a great dad, really, but I know Ted Danson still played that role really well. If you guys haven't seen Getting Even with Dad, give that one a go. It's also directed by Howard Diach, who also gave us Pretty in Pink, so there's that too. All right, coming in at number 8 is going to be Uncle Buck. Now, of course, it's with John Candy, who of course plays the dad's brother who ends up who needs to look after his niece and nephews and all. And of course, the kids are played by Culkin as well as Gabby Hoffman. And also the oldest one is played by Jean Louisa Kelly. I mean, Macaulay Culkin I know he was great in Uncle Buck. This was actually, I believe this was like I gotta double check, but I think this was actually his first feature film, if I'm not mistaken. I could easily be wrong there. But I kind of liked Culkin's chemistry with John Candy. John Candy was hilarious in this. It was directed by John Hughes, who, come on, I mean, John Hughes he was the man. Who doesn't love John Hughes? You of course have Garrett and Brown as John Candy's brother. Uh, Elaine Bromka played the mother, the sister-in-law. I mentioned. Really nice, funny comedy gem. It's probably one of the funniest comedies of the '80s. If you guys never seen Uncle Buck by now, do yourself a favor, go check out Uncle Buck. It's a really funny one. Coming in at number 7 is going to be a film called Party Monster. Now, the film is based on a true story about Michael Alig, played by Macaulay Culkin, who ends up arriving on a Greyhound bus in New York City, and he's also desperate to leave his boring Midwestern past behind and all. And so, he ends up meeting this downtown club kid named James St. James, played by Seth Green, and a nightclub owner named Peter Guter, played by Dylan McDermott. And so, he's very fame hungry, and so Alig, decides to show the most controversial and over the top parties in the city. And so, Alig ends up becoming a drug addict, and there's behavior that tries to destroy the empire he ended up creating in or two. I mean, this is not a likable character. It is of course based on a true story. Like I said, you also had an interesting cast too. You had Marilyn Manson, you had Natasha Lyonne was in this, Chloe Sevigny, Wilmer Valderrama, John Stamos was even in this. I mean, interesting group of actors. I mean, this movie got pretty intense at time. Interesting performance by Macaulay Culkin. I mean, this really showed that he was definitely grown up. It was kind of one of his most grown up roles to date. And of course, him and Seth Green are actually really good friends in real life. Macaulay Culkin had actually appeared on Robot Chicken a couple of times, and him and Seth Green was just in a movie called Changeover, I think it was called, which was Seth Green's directorial debut. So those two are pretty good friends in real life. So yeah, but if you guys never seen Party Monster, these two party really heavily, and yeah, really interesting little film. Coming in at number 6 is going to The Page Master. Now, it's where this storm forces, where a storm ends up forcing a frightening Richard, Brian ends up frying this kid named Richard Tyler, played by Macaulay Culkin, inside a nearby library for shelter. And you got the librarian named Mr. Dewey, played by Christopher Lloyd, who ends up seeing that Richard needs an adventure, trying to give the boy a book and all. And so when he ends up reading the book, he pretty much ends up going to a fantasy land with different literary characters. The movie was directed by Joe Johnson, who of course gave us stuff Joe Johnson gave us the first Captain America. He did Jurassic Park 3. I think he did Jumanji 2, if I'm not mistaken. Really cool director there. And you also had Ed Begley Jr. and Mel Harris as his parent, as the kid's parents. This movie goes from it goes from the live action realm to animated, and they don't do that anymore nowadays. Like I love for them to do another movie where someone goes from live action to animated. They did like in the '90s. They did that great with with the Page Master, with James the Giant Peach. I mean, Page Master is it's kind of a '90s classic gem. It's such a great adventure film. Macaulay Culkin was really great in this. Christopher Lloyd was great. Other cast in this included Whoopi Goldberg, Patrick Stewart, Jim Cummings, Leonard Nimoy. Really interesting group of characters. A really nice fantasy adventure film. The animation was cool. Like, if you guys never seen The Page Master, go check The Page Master out. You'll enjoy it. All right. Okay, coming in at number 5 is going to Richie Rich. Now, this, of course, stars Macaulay Culkin as the entire role of Richie Rich, who pretty much has, like, every toy any boy could ever want or. And in addition to it, he also has a um, adoring parents played by Christine Aberso and Edward Herman. But the one thing that Richie doesn't have is, like, friends. And so, like, when like his parents end up going missing, Richie suspects an executive in the family company to blame it on. So he ends up going out, trying to solve where his parents could be, it's a '90s child favorite. Richie Rich is great. It's funny. I mean, at first, Richie Rich is kind of a bratty kid. He's a wreck throughout parts of the film because he's rich, and but down the line, he ends up becoming a really nice, really nice, innocent, kid and Macaulay Culkin, I thought he played Richie Rich really well. John Larroquette was really, John Larroquette was really great in this. It was directed by Donald Petrie. I thought he did a good job at directing. It was really funny. It had lots of heart to it. It was also a nice mystery film. Really nice little film. Like, if you guys never seen Richie Rich yet, give that one a go. All right, coming in at number 4 is My Girl. Let me just tell you something about My Girl. Macaulay Culkin, of course, plays the lead girl's. Sorry about that. Anyway, Culkin, plays the lead girl's best friend, and let's just say what happens to Macaulay Culkin's character in this. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting a little teary just talking about the scene. Like, if you guys seen My Girl, it stars Anna Klumsky, years before Veep kicked in, and so like she has like good reasons to be more. She's like very morbid. And she has good reasons to be. Her mother ended up dying by giving birth to her, and her father, played by Dan Aykroyd, operates a funeral service at their home in her. And so like Vada's best friend in this is really this kid named Thomas J. Sennett, and they have a really great bonding together. That until the unthinkable happened. When 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 Veda and Macaulay Culkin's character Thomas are in a tree, bees swirl around him, and he gets stung and he dies. Yeah, that's kind of what, like, lots of people who see My Girl will literally tell you how heartbreaking that scene is. That moment, like, with Thomas in the being buried, and you could like see an open casket of him. That is kind of really heartbreaking to witness. And My Girl is still great. It's directed by Howard Zia. You also had Jamie Lee Curtis. Griffith Dunn was in this. I really love My Girl. They also did My Girl 2, which I did not really like My Girl 2. But the first My Girl is great. It's a film about heartbreak. It's a nice coming of age tale. I like the chemistry with Anna Kolumsky and Macaulay Culkin. I mean, and of course the moment at the funeral home when she's like looking at him and holding his hand while he's in the casket. That will break your heart. And oh yeah, I mean, if you guys still never see My Girl, do yourself a favor, go check out My Girl. But granted, I'm gonna warn you right now. You watch My Girl, get tissues while you're watching My Girl. You're gonna tear up a little bit. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm even choking up a little bit just talking about it. Like this movie will even make I remember watching this as a kid and I did tear up at that scene. And I watched this movie again as an adult, and guess what? I still tear up at that My Girl scene. Yeah. But anyway, let's get to the happiness one, shall we? Coming in at number 3 is going to Home Alone 2. Now, Home Alone 2 got released the year I was born, by the way. And of course, the first Home Alone was a phenomena. It was like a box office success. And it's definitely one of the. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Anyway, it is, of course, you know, the first Home Alone is definitely one of the greatest Christmas movies there is. And so they, of course, went ahead and did this sequel called Home Alone 2, where, of course, this time around, Macaulay Culkin's family once again abandons, ends up leaving him, and they pretty much forget him this time in New York City. I mean, the mother is probably one of the worst mothers of all time. You did not forget your kid once. You forgot your kid twice. How do you forget your kid again? Is still beyond me, but hey. But of course, Home Alone 2 is titled Lost in New York, so obviously, he ends up becoming, lost in New York City. And of course, you got the Wet Bandits, once again played by Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, who are once again on their trail. They end up encountering Kevin in New York City, and they once again trying to find him. But of course, he ends up once again setting up the traps, and this time he doesn't set up traps at his home. He sets traps other places in New York City. So yeah. Oh, and not to mention, Home Alone 2 did have a little cameo too. I don't get political in any of my videos, but let's just say Home Alone 2 did feature a little cameo by Trump. That's right. And Macaulay Culkin actually was in an interview with was talking about Trump and all, and he actually literally forgot that Trump was in Home Alone 2. Yeah, but anyway, it literally took me like a couple of years to actually knew that was Trump there. When Kevin asks him, "Excuse me, sir, where's the lobby?" Then Trump, of course says, "To the hall, down the hall, to the left." I mean, yeah. Uh, talk about, I mean, talk about an interesting, t- talk about an interesting cameo right there. I mean, yeah. But of course, Home Alone 2, it's not as good as the first Home Alone, but it's still really great. It's funny. It has lots of heart. I mean, the pigeon lady is great. I mean, not gonna lie, this movie also made me a little like this is actually this film is the reason why I barely walked many places around New York City. Like this movie is seriously the reason why I don't. why I don't go down Central Park at nighttime. Yeah, you know how when Kevin goes around to Central Park and he sees like some weirdos and all that. That is seriously the reason why I don't go down Central Park at nighttime. That is. But yeah, Home Alone 2 is. I just love this movie. You know, it's once again funny. You know, Christopher Columbus once again directed it. You also, not to mention, you had Tim Curry in this. Who doesn't love Tim Curry? You also had Rob Schneider was also in this too. Once again, that black and white TV film that Kevin watches, that makes an appearance once again. Yeah, if you guys never seen Home Alone 2, go check that one out. All right, coming in at number 2 is a really different Macaulay Culkin role. You know, like a year after he did Home Alone 2, Macaulay Culkin went through an interesting phase as a creepy kid. And my number 2 pick is going to The Good Son. I mean, The Good Son, you know, stars a very young Elijah Wood as his character named Mark, who, you know, is a young boy who loses his mother, and he has to stay with his extended family while his father's away on business. And he becomes like very acquainted with his cousin Henry, played by Macaulay Culkin. But he ends up discovering that Henry is not really the kid that everyone knows, like thinks is a saint and all. And he does like some insane stuff. Like he tries to, Henry tries to kill his own mother. He tries to kill his own sister in this. By the way, his sister in this is played by Macaulay Culkin's real life sister. There's a little tidbit for you there too. You know, he even he even caused a traffic jam. I mean, yeah, Good Son is one creep of a film. It's really good too. I mean, it's probably one of Macaulay Culkin's best performances. Probably the first time I ever heard Macaulay Culkin curse. Yeah, Macaulay Culkin actually cursed in this. So that was like the first time I ever heard him actually drop an F bomb. But yeah, The Good Son is one creep of a film. You also had David Morris was also in this. Wendy Crewson was here. It was also directed by this director named Joseph Rubin, who did a cool job of directing this. I mean, Good Son is, The Good Son is a real creepy film, and Macaulay Culkin is definitely his creepiest role yet. Because I think since Home Alone ended, Macaulay Culkin wanted to show that he could do more than he could be more than just that kid from Home Alone. And yeah, that's really what we got here. If if you guys never really seen The Good Son yet, give that one a go. It's a really good one. Creepy, but good. Alright, my number one favorite Macaulay Culkin movie of all time. Come on. It's obvious. His best one ever goes to Home Alone. The first one, obviously. Home Alone, directed by Christopher Columbus, who, by the way, gave us the first 2 Harry Potter movies, not to mention. The first Home Alone, it's a Christmas classic. I really love the first Home Alone. It's a really funny one. It was actually the movie that really, Uncle Buck was actually Macaulay Culkin's, first feature film. But it was Home Alone that actually made Macaulay Culkin a star. And of course, it's a film where, where his parents accidentally leave Kevin home alone. And, you got robberies named the Wet Bandits who are trying to rob the house. And Kevin's trying to protect his house and, by setting up traps and all. And of course, Wet Bandits are played, like, you've got Joe Pesci as, as Harry, and of course you got Daniel Stern as Marv. Oh, I mean, alright. For some reason, I literally forgot which played who, so I was just double checking there. But anyway, yeah, Joe Pesci and Downstairs, these two played off each other well. You know, you got like Macaulay Culkin, him as Kevin was great. You know, some of the traps he set, I mean, was insane. I mean, this kid was nuts, but you know, he was trying to protect his house. You know, like why, why he's a bad guy for trying to protect his own house. You know, and of course you got Catherine O'Hara as the mother, who's probably one of the worst mothers of all time. You also got the late John Hurd was in this. Macaulay Culkin's real life brother, Kieran Culkin. Devin Ratray um, played the older brother of Buzz. You had John Candy, who was also in this too. I mean, it was pretty cool seeing John Candy in this. Now, Home Alone is, it's a Christmas comic classic. I mean, I'm not kidding. Like, I could watch this movie anytime, even when it's not Christmas time. Like, it's seriously those Christmas movies that's so good. You could actually watch. You could literally watch Home Alone when it's not Christmas. Like, that's how good the movie is. And I mean the traps that gets said. I mean, come on, those are some insane traps. I mean, I'm literally surprised that really Kevin didn't end up killing Harry and Marv. Like, I'm still surprised that Harry and Marv actually ended up surviving those traps. And yeah, Home Alone is such a childhood favorite of mine. It's it's one of my favorite all-time Christmas movies. And of course, it was just announced that Disney Plus is looking to reboot Home Alone, which I'm still not sure about, but who knows. But yeah, Home Alone is thumbs up Macaulay Culkin's best work ever. So if you guys still never seen Home Alone or Home Alone 2 for that matter, go check those out. They're really good. But that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. 10, Save. 9, Getting Even with Dad. 8, Uncle Buck. 7, Party Monster. 6, The Page Master. 5, Richie Rich. 4, My Girl. 3, Home Alone 2. 2, The Good Son. 1, Home Alone. Now, Macaulay Culkin has been in a few other stuff as well. Alright. A few other films Macaulay Culkin's been in. Let's see. Still haven't seen Changeland. I kind of saw the trailer for that, and I kind of want to see Changeland. He was in some movie called Sex and Breakfast. He also was in another John Candy movie called Only the Lonely. He was in Nutcracker, See You in the Morning. He hasn't really been in a whole lot as you expect. But let me leave it to you guys. What are some of your favorite Macaulay Culkin movies? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. This here is Movies signing off.